And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Live with Yana live stream. And tonight's topic is how to transition your career to a DevOps engineer. Thank you so much for finding some time this evening to join our discussion. Please make sure to introduce yourself in the comments. Let us know what you do and join our conversations with your comments and questions. And also, Melbourne, how are you doing with lockdown number 6? Are you used to it by now? I feel like I don't even care anymore. It all seems just like blending in. So again, if you're new to my live show, I'm Yana Martins, and I've recently started my journey as a IT recruiter. Hence, I'm started a new YouTube channel dedicated to IT career in Australia. Sorry, I'm just having some problem with the LinkedIn. Just 1 second, make sure it's working. The YouTube is going all right, but LinkedIn is giving me some error. Sorry, guys, for a little delay. Oh, looks like we're going to stream only on YouTube today if it's not going to connect again. One second. Oh, well. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us anyway, whoever is here with us. And tonight we're going to talk about how to transition your career to a DevOps engineer. And Ankit is going to share his valuable insights and real-life experience when it comes to DevOps career. So we're going to talk about what are the core skills you should have as a DevOps engineer, how to get started and build those skills on the job you have. And, at the moment, the world is changing. I'm sure a few of you who have been thinking, what's next? What do I need to do to boost my career potentials? It's an incredibly timely topic. Please tag or share it with your friends who need to hear this. Before I'll pass it on to Ankit to introduce himself, I just want to remind you that we're going live on Facebook and YouTube and hopefully LinkedIn. I'll just double check connection again. Actually, Ankit, while you're there, jump on LinkedIn and see if it's streaming or not. While I'm
the user testing for you.
Yeah, perfect. So guys, if LinkedIn is not working, I'm just gonna share YouTube link to LinkedIn and make sure you can join that way as well. So anyway, we're going to answer all your questions from all the platform. Please make sure you ask as many questions as you want. And the most active participants will also receive some surprise at the end of the stream. So it's enough for me. Ankit, how are we going? Have you had a chance to look at my LinkedIn profile?
LinkedIn is still waiting for the broadcast. Seems like some packet has lost from your streaming to reach to LinkedIn. So no luck.
How good's that? Yeah. Okay.
Let's ask the DevOps community to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let me just do one thing. And if not, we'll just continue only on YouTube. We have few people watching us YouTube. We don't want, them to keep waiting for us to, solve the LinkedIn issues for that time. I'll just go now. The problem is we can't stop this live stream and start another one because we'll lose it on YouTube. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to share YouTube link on LinkedIn. See how we go. Oh, well, the pleasure of technologies. Anyway, guys, so whoever is here on YouTube right now, Looks like the stream isn't showing on LinkedIn. It's like a known issue. We are working to fix it. Okay. Anyway, they work and fix it. Thanks, LinkedIn. Adele is here, London Clear on YouTube. Okay, let's do it. Let's go for it. Not gonna wait for LinkedIn to, fix our issues. So, Ankit, please introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Cool. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time zone you are. My name is Ankit Gupta. I'm a DevOps enthusiastic, and at the moment, I am engineering manager at Vodafone New Zealand, leading the engineering team around integration tools and the DevOps practices across the organization. I've been doing this DevOps thingy, if I say it's CI/CD tools, DevOps thingy, quite a while now. It's been quite a while that I've done multiple and in multiple organization as well, like in multiple domains, banking sectors, and all those things. So I find it very interesting, to be honest. I love my the whole this DevOps culture, the whole that implementation to it. That's pretty much me. I will not waste my time on me today.
Sounds good. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's dig straight into it. So I guess the first question will be quite general one. What is DevOps and what's all this, fuss about it?
Sweet. So if I start with the theoretical language and I will start saying that, hey, what AWS says, because it seems to be standard over there, DevOps is the combination of cultures, philosophies, practices, and the tools that increase an organization ability to deliver applications and services at very high velocity. It's evolving process that you own end to end over there. This speed of or delivering and the speed which is to deliver enables organization to better serve their customers and compete more effectively in the markets. That's where the DevOps definition according to the AWS. So everyone has their own flavor. I usually like this one, but what if I start with, say, DevOps is considered to be a culture, like not a job. It's not something which is a job title over there. If you go back and say what was the original idea of the original idea of the DevOps was to remove the friction between development and operations so that you can actually deliver the faster. If I go back with the definition, I said that to deliver at the speed. So it was invented or it was conceptualized was to remove those barriers so that developer or operations can work together and actually develop and actually deliver effectively at the speed pace. So that's where the general definition of DevOps comes in, and there are so many are there in the market.
Definitely. And I guess
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
points we want to make as well about the, DevOps.
Yep. So this is the main thing is that this is what I keep on thinking about, the mindset change. It's literally about that you start thinking about that how you can own end to end, and you change the shift from just delivery to own it. Like you're not just delivering for the sake of delivering it because you've given a backlog or you've given a item to deliver it or to write a piece of code and you just written it. That's not the DevOps is. Actually, it's about owning it. You start thinking about what is the solution design for it, how you should write the code, what is the best effective way of to structure it, and then start seeing about how to package it, how you deploy it, how you own it, how you monitor it, and take feedback on that, and start working an iterative approach. That's where it is a mindset change. It's not just only a process, it's not only just a pipeline, it's beyond that. It's a mindset change, and it's change from a delivery to an ownership over there. Does that sound good?
Perfect. You couldn't describe it more exact, Ankit. So okay, so the next I guess question about what are the principles? What are the main principles of DevOps?
So, so when you said principles, I think it's whether it is DevOps engineer who has to follow that, whether it's a team, there are some standard principles that you have to follow. If you follow those principles, it doesn't mean it by default means that you are a DevOps engineer or you are a DevOps organization or you are a DevOps team or a squad. So it's all about traits and the behaviors. So according to me, the first and the foremost one is developing end with the mind. You are actually, when you start developing something, you start thinking about what is the end goal, why we are developing this, what is the problem statement we are trying to solve, what we are actually going to deliver to the customer about it. That's where the first and the foremost behavior which we start evolving in all of our team member or if an individual is to start thinking about what is the end goal we're trying to achieve, what is the problem statement we are going to solve it. The second one which I keep on thinking about is the working with a cross functional autonomous team. It doesn't matter if you are a superman itself. Like if you're working alone, you're not gonna actually achieve the whole outcome. You have to start working in a cross-functional autonomous team. You have to start understanding how many, like it's a culturally diverse thing, or the technology wise a diverse team over there with a different skill set, and you start working together, work in a collaborative environment to actually deliver that thing faster or deliver something outcome a value to the customer. The third thing is automate everything we can. Is that it's I think a very important thing, but it's not only. A lot of time people get confused DevOps by automation. That's the reason I wanted to clarify. It's a key pillar here, that you start automating the things and start seeing that where are you have the monolith the tasks which is monotonous over there, because if you are doing the same task again, you will not be happy. So start seeing the opportunity to automate and start seeing that where you can add more value to it. That's where the automation is a key pillar for the DevOps, but not automation is not DevOps. Just wanted to key highlight over there, and want to ensure that everyone gets that customer centric thing. And that you have to start thinking about customer centric actions. It's actually relate back to the first principle as well. What is the end goal? And but this one is different, is that consider yourself as a customer and start thinking about that. Hey, if I'm the customer, what is going to impact to me on these all things? So when you have this thought process kicks into you before you start even developing something, it actually shows the trait of ownership, which means that you're owning it. You're seeing that you're going to deliver a value, but is it a real value I'm adding? Or it's a small feature, it's there, or like that's where you do that. And I think that's where the prioritization behavior kicks in as well, that you start focusing on, I have 10 features to develop, but which are my top 3 or top 4 which is going to add the most value for my customer. I'm going to deliver this first. So that's where the customer centering and the mind comes in over there. And then the another one is the end-to-end responsibility. So I think this is where it summarizes sort of a DevOps, one of the big principle over there, that you start owning every piece of the delivery. You start thinking about the software architecture. You start thinking from the scratch. Say, when you get a problem statement, how you're going to solve it? What are the ways to solve it? What is the best way to solve that one? Take that from there, and then own the each parts of it, even like configuring its like development part, even deployment, packaging, all those things, and then taking it to production. That's where the end-to-end responsibility comes in. Continuous improvement is the another key one. It's about actually every phase of the software development lifecycle, every phase of the delivery. You start thinking about how we improve our process. Amazingly, we have done the feature 1, but can we improve our velocity for feature 2? How we can deliver faster? Is that how we can be more effective this time? What is something we do differently that it makes it better? Again, it doesn't mean that you have to go right all the time. It's fine if you try something new and you fail, because that's the whole concept here, that we are failing fast. We are trying something new, failing fast, and trying to actually inherit all the best things which you invent all the way over there. And the last but not the least is reduce cost for the operation. So no organization like OPEX cost, just as in over there. So everyone has to manage the cost. So no one likes the OPEX. So which means that you start thinking about that, how we reduce our operations cost, how we reduce. It's not only about the cost as well. When you start thinking about reducing your operational overhead, which means that you have less on-call issues and all those things, you have less people like worrying about the things, you have less number of off hours or working hours, you have a happy team altogether. So in nutshell, if you follow all these things, or these are the principles, if I say it, if you have that, you are a DevOps engineer, you are a DevOps team, and you're a DevOps organization.
By looking at these principles, I feel like I can be CEO if I, if I have all this.
A CEO has to be a DevOps engineer.
There we go.
Once upon a time, a CEO was a DevOps engineer.
There we go. So
Yeah.
who is a DevOps engineer? We'll summarize it.
So if I summarize who is DevOps engineer, is it an IT generalist? That's just to emphasize is that IT generalist who should have a wide range of knowledge of both development and operation, including coding, infrastructure management, administration, managing the tools, everything like that's all comes as a package as a DevOps engineer. A DevOps engineer should also possess the interpersonal skills since they work across the silos, company silos, and create a new collaborative environment. That's where the DevOps engineer comes in. That bringing the new mindset and the change or there from delivery to ownership is the DevOps engineer.
We have a few comments coming in. I think we're actually back on LinkedIn as well. Not sure,
Oh,
but
okay.
let's hope so. DevOps was a mind changer for tech company, disrupting one the silos. Agile also helped and applied to even HW design or any system engineering process, at least from my own experience.
I completely agree with Carlos on that one. Is that we have, if you go back to the agile methodologies itself, it will actually the history of agile starts from the manufacturing industry. So that's where it comes in, as that how we can reduce our silos over there, how we can build in a collaborative way, and that's where it has been iterative thing, and in IT it has been proven amazing thing, like how we have achieving the speed over there. So it's definitely it has improved in hardware design or any system engineering process. You can apply in any sort of things. I keep on saying that some of the principles you can apply in all sort of areas. I start doing, and this is a funny thing you will find out. I start thinking about DevOps in the life, like literally managing my to-do list kind of thing. It's something which I am doing the prioritization. Say over the weekend, if I have to go somewhere, I have to prioritize. I have to prioritize my cleaning house and all those things. So this is all you're prioritizing. You're seeing that where you're adding the value, where you manage the calendar and all those things. So you can apply these principles somewhere in some form and shape everywhere in your life, in your work, and I've seen value coming out of that.
Definitely. And also, like, again, it seems like a lot to take. So today we're actually talking about, how to transition your career to DevOps engineer. And I'm actually curious, guys, who are listening to us at the moment, at which stage of your DevOps career you are? Are you already in the DevOps, or you thinking to transition to DevOps? And if you're thinking to transition to DevOps engineer, please share with us why. Yeah, what's the reason why you want to be DevOps engineer? Is it just like a buzzy word, or like it's a, or that's how you, or it's a mindset change for you? So please let us know. And Ankit, the next question would be also, I guess let's dig in a little bit more into the skill sets and the transition to DevOps engineering, because as we know, we can transition to DevOps through different areas of IT. So what would be those areas?
So DevOps engineer needs to know a wide spectrum of technologies to do their job effectively. Whatever your background is, start with the fundamental technologies. Understand that that you need to use the technologies, and understand as a DevOps engineer. I think I mentioned you before as well. I've seen three types of DevOps engineer. As in, I work with three types of DevOps engineer. If I said engineer with a dev background, is I call it as a bias with the devs and all those things. A dev bias engineer, a DevOps engineer with ops bias, and then SREs is something which is interesting is coming. SREs are the like software engineer that solve operations and infrastructure problems. SRE focus on creating scalable, highly available, and the reliable software skills. And it doesn't matter where you fit in, where you are lining up, but still there are some technologies and the core skills you can learn in, and start focusing on that. So if I talk about the first and the foremost one, which I see is a very important, is operating system. So the operating system is where everything runs. So having the fundamental knowledge is important. Linux is the most used operating system at the moment, if I say it, and you will mostly like to see the daily, although some organization use Windows, but again, it's again it's going back to on the PowerShell skills also. So it's good to have that. It takes a lot more time to get master in Linux. It's not so easy, but still you will start learning on the basics and get in there, and you can start even install Linux at home and spin up a VM in any of the cloud, and you will able to make as much as you want and learn along the way. That's how it lands on scripting. The next is the very important thing is pick a language to learn, like whatever the language you like, as in like there are wide variety of the languages, like Python, Go, Java, Bash, PowerShell, and all those things. I personally like Python, as in just I started liking Python and all those things, and it's a very popular and it will be easy to learn and interpret. And Python is often written follow the fundamental of object oriented programming and can be used for the web development, so it's quite a rich framework over there. The third and
Well,
very
so
important thing, sorry,
can I disrupt you?
yeah,
Just because I've recently been hiring for quite a few DevOps roles, and we've been looking a lot for Go these days.
yep.
So is it just a trend or?
No, again, as I mentioned, it depends on
Mhm,
that the language that you like it. Okay, it's all about every language has its own pros and cons. So Go has its own pros and cons as well. Like yeah, it's quite
mhm,
trendy as well, and it's quite fast and everything. But what I believe is, if you know
mhm.
any one of the language, you can code easily in any other language. It's a matter of 2 weeks time to know the like. It's literally about the structure that how to write it, and behind the scenes it's all over there, and that's where it lands on. So that's the main thing comes into there. Does
Yep,
that make sense?
yep.
Cool. And the important thing which I was talking about is the cloud, is that after Linux and Python, I think, or any programming language, the cool thing or the next big thing or the current big thing, if I say, is to study for you is cloud computing. Nowadays are gone when companies were having the big data centers and waiting for whole things to be managed and ordering the hardware and all. It's all about now spinning up the VMs on the fly. There are so many, like you should have a basic knowledge of these trendy platforms like AWS, Azure, Google, all those things, and start picking up extensive free learning tools are available. Actually, there are heaps of material. There is a heaps of material trainings over there, free trainings over there, and start over there. You will see that you will start loving it. Like, I'm pretty much sure when you start getting into it, you will love that one. It's so amazing. You will find a big leap if you have not still exposed to these things, but you will find a big leap of transition in the time that we were waiting for a VM for almost, or any hardware for 4 weeks of delivery time. Now a click of button, just that's where, and then you have a VM ready for doing something. Like I was having a problem statement with of yesterday, literally in the evening, but having some issues. It was like, oh, we need to increase the capacity by this, and I was like, okay, and with a click of button, it was there. We're back on the track, back online. So that's where it helps in and over there.
And would you say it's quite easy to transition between the cloud? Like if you learn the skills in one cloud, it would be quite easy to apply to another one?
So so again, when you start with someone and you get
Mm-hmm,
expert into one, and you by default become biased to it, it doesn't matter. It's not about cloud. It's a general behavior. So if you like a
mm-hmm.
park nearby your thing, and you start going every day, you start liking it. So you become biased about it. So it's the same thing with this. Hey, the cloud technology as well. Is that actually you can talk about that? Hey, uh, again, behind the scenes concepts are almost same. As I mentioned about the technology, is that there's a VM over there, the scale sets and all those informations are still the same. The formatting and the language to be used, the words to be used, and the way we call it out, it's a bit different. So it's a matter of, again, spending 2 weeks dedicated time, some hands-on experience. You can switch between that. Every organization are focusing on hybrid cloud strategy, like every other organization or every enterprise is focusing on a hybrid cloud strategy. And that's where I think having expertise in one cloud, and but having the base minimum understanding of the cloud platforms or the trending one is minimum, bare minimum, and we should start doing that. That's where it lands on.
Perfect. The next one.
Is programming language. So it's again, I talk about development and DevOps. So if we already talked about the scripting over there. If you come to the DevOps with a passion of software development, keep on improving your programming skill. Some good and commonly used language in the DevOps are like, it's again Python, Go, Java, and anything. You should also become familiar with the tools like Git, Jenkins, Azure DevOps, whatever the orchestration tool which you feel comfortable with, and you start using the CI/CD process. That's where the programming languages adds on there, and it's very important over there. And the last but not least is the containers. Finally start learning about containerizing code. It's really trending over there because everyone wants the entity to run its own, no dependencies and all those things. So container adds a lot more value over there, and every organization is moving into that. There is extensive learning resources available free online. There are so many meetup groups. If you are in New Zealand, please feel free to ping in. I even myself organize a lot of meetups over there, talking about the cloud containers and see that what trends we are doing, and all the stuff over there. That's what it lands on. So that's the
Um,
core skills I believe that we should have as a DevOps engineer, and it is sufficient to go on.
I have a few questions, I guess, related to the slide. So he's saying,
Yeah.
what's the minimal requirements to transform to DevOps engineer, considering I'm a Scrum Master now? And can you please recommend where to learn Linux and Python for a beginner like me?
So the minimum, it's again, I'll start again. What I was explaining is the minimum
Yep.
knowledge of each and every platform is mandatory, or it's good to have as well. It's again, start understanding about the basic skills of, and again, everything is linked to it. As if you start saying that if you've learned about Linux, then learning the cloud is actually linked to it, and you will start relating the concepts to it. If you learned about the cloud and your cloud platforms and then start talking about the Kubernetes or the containers, you will see that is linked to it. It's a journey over there, and it say that, and the scripting. So if you're going into the Linux, you by default see that you're running the commands are the shell commands. So you already started doing some shell scripting. So that's where it comes in. So everything is linked to it, and start with the basics of each and every concepts, that what operating system means to you. Start with some of the scripting language. Once you get comfortable there, then try to jump in the basics of the cloud and start learning about that cloud processes and all the stuff. And then maybe you can start talking about containers over there, but no need to rush for the containers straight away. Start with the basic operating skills and some basic scripting, maybe shell or Python, and then learn about the cloud over there. Does that make sense? Now, coming about the
That's,
recommendation of
yeah,
courses,
yeah.
there are huge. I've seen so many. I get confused that which one I should recommend, because every course is actually having a unique ability over there. But if I remember that, what is the last one I have seen? It was a good one. Is there are heaps in the Udemy, which I've been referring because it seems to be a rich content platform over there. But again, it's not like you have to stick in over there. But Udemy has some basic courses over there, and also then you can go for advanced. And another one I have actually seen is the Coursera. Like I don't know if you
Hmm.
go in there. There are so many in the Coursera. I have used it, and there are some basic free learning content over there. And then you give it a go. It makes a lot more sense over there to use that.
And Tanuj just have a question: how to break the no hands-on experience threshold when transitioning for DevOps from roles like support and sysadmin? Tanuj, just stay with us. Ankit actually gonna like put the whole like 5-step framework what you need to do to transition. So we're gonna talk about it just in a second.
Yep. So
Quite a
let's jump
quite a
into it.
yeah. Let's talk about the 5 steps that Ankit actually prepared for us before. Would you like
So
to take us through?
yep, that's Thanos, coming to your point. It's always the case when I talk to the people. They always come and say that, hey, I've seen so many videos. I've seen so many things talking about, like, but how do I start? Like, where do I start? And over there, and I feel pain a lot more over there when I meet with the people. Then it's an infinite loop. Like, you need a job to get an experience, but to get an experience, you need a job. So it's literally an infinite loop, so that people get confused that, hey, where should I start over there, and how do I kick in and all this thing. And that's where I started talking about this 5-step approach. Is that first is that start cross training now. Like, you have to start building the teams, and in your team, and start finding out the opportunities. Whether you are a developer or a operation guy, now is the time. Start acquiring skill outside your current role, comfort zone. And like I've seen developers by training tend to have a leg up on operation professional when making the transition to the DevOps engineer positions, not only due to the demand for the programming in-house tools and scripting, but also because they are more likely to understand the daily needs of the developers. So that's where it comes in. And then you start, say for example, I will give you an example. If you're a developer, start getting interested in that how the operation works in on, and start learning those skills and see that, hey, if there is an operation, guys, if you still are in the silos, at like I hardly do believe that, but again, you can start talking about what are the operational actually procedures over there, what are the steps over there. Obtain the practical experience by using your skill as a software engineer to build tools rather than software. That's a very very key thing. So you start using your skills as a software engineer to build a framework, like it, rather you can arguably say that a tool is a piece of software again. But at the same time, it has to be, you're building something which is a framework which can be reusable every time. It's not just solving one problem, it can be focus on that if that overcomes in. The another thing is that document your work as code. That's a very key thing. If you start doing that, it will automatically help you out, that you'll start gaining those skills and learning that automation framework. The next step is going to talk about is that build the skills, and I will talk about the automation as well, but start learning those automation framework. So if you have to write a document, I will give an example. Use markdown language. Okay, if you start doing that, you will start learning some skills that, and you can put the markdown languages into the git. It's a document as well as you're learning is some language over there, some scripting is a basic thing. So that's where it comes in. Start cross skilling, and you can version the documents. That's where the beauty comes in, and you don't need to buy any tools over there. A simple git free cost, and you can do it over there. The second step is that build the skills in the job you want, literally you have today for the job you want. Start focusing on that. That's the main thing, that you think about that. What is my dream job look like? And I build that metrics, that these are the jobs I need, or these are the skills I need, and I should start looking on there. You start thinking about that, what are the roles and responsibilities should be there as in my job, and start owning it. Like I'm pretty much sure a lot of people, you will have some challenges, but at the same time you will start seeing that, oh, a lot of people are helping you. Start owning the end-to-end life cycle, software development life cycle. Start defining your own role. You don't need a title to call as DevOps engineer. Step up. Step up on that. Okay, if there is an issue, step up and start beyond there and say, oh, this is where we do it, debugging and all the stuff. You will find yourself slowly and gradually, you're already half the way through the DevOps engineer. You have learned all those things almost over there.
And I can really relate what you're saying, Ankit, about you don't actually need this title of DevOps engineer from the recruitment perspective as well. Yes, of course, like, you, so then I'm looking to, to hire someone for DevOps position. Yes, so obviously as recruiters, we're just putting some keywords in the beginning, to find the profiles that matching the description. But it's not necessary that they put like DevOps engineer in our search. We usually look for the skills and stuff, and depends of the also the company that looking for DevOps engineer. They can actually even tell us like, oh, we would prefer someone coming from the software background or someone from operation background, as long as that they're smart and willing to learn. We're happy to give someone a go who actually don't have this like DevOps engineer title, but already been exposed to this end-to-end process. So you actually, as exactly what you just mentioned before, you can start learning on your job. And if you have some sort of exposure, there will be some companies that will be willing to give you a go.
Oh, there's a lot more companies, and considering the current market, to be very honest, and specifically in the ANZ regions, that company are literally are on the stake, and they're talking about like, let's get someone who is willing to learn something new and the skills. If you have that zeal to take it on, you are up for it, because you don't need someone as skilled people, because if I talk about it, like let me tell that in a way, another different way. Technology is changing. If you're building something, it's an obsolete thing after 3 years. So but you cannot say I'm going to hire the entire workforce today based on what I'm developing today, and I'm going to replace after 3 years. It's not practically possible. So that's where it comes in, that you have to start thinking about how do you do the skill development in your team, how your team is learning that. You need people who learn the skills on the fly. And as with the whole this whole IT revolution, I call it out. It's not even IT; it's a social revolution. Is in the current industry market is all about the quality of the life, the skills, and the capabilities. It's all about that. So, and you can learn anything in 3 weeks' time. To be honest, at least the basic to be start with, you start learning over there, and take it from there. That's how it
Yeah.
lands on.
Yep. If you have a good general knowledge and good
Yeah.
basic, 100%. So let's go to your 5 steps. So make sure we
Yep.
finish your 5 steps.
Oh, sure.
Today.
Yeah, I will try to close on, but I will just definitely touch upon the very, very key one is the automation. Prove you can get a lot done with little. So this is where it comes in, that you start automating it. That's what I highlighting is that I like the people who get lot done and with a little, like literally they start talking about automation. If you are, as I mentioned before as well, if you're doing the same job again and again, you will not be happy by yourself, isn't like that's where it comes in. And steady automation, if you're stuck with a tedious manual task, you will not able to give time to learn new things. So you have to start finding time for yourself by automating something. So this is where it comes in. You're not automating to help the organization, you're automating to help you to find more time, so that actually you can focus also on getting some new skills over there. Automation also requires, so when you're trying to automate, okay, something, you need to actually think about the problem statement, which means you start talking about like deep understanding of some area or getting expertise over there. And if you go back and relate to the principles, you started owning the problem, because you are actually find the problem. Now you're trying to solve the problem, you're building a solution for it, you are end to end responsible for it, you're automating this, you're learning the new insight, you're working with the cross enabling team or like a autonomous team, because you're trying to get some information from there. So by default, you're trying to do this something to solve a problem, but you don't realize, but you're actually on the pathway to be a proper DevOps engineer, or you're almost qualified to call as a DevOps engineer over there. So that's a key thing. It's not like as an I call it as a rocket science, but I call rocket surgery, because of this whole thing is that it's not that big thing. It just start thinking about it and focusing on the problem statements, and see that where are the gaps in your current job that you can fix it. And start gaining that experience, because if you start something new, your peers will start following you, and that becomes the hope. And that's where brings the next one is that develop your persona, develop you as a brand with a community involvement. It's within the organization and outside the organization. Get involved with the DevOps community. And I always keep on saying, do not get involved just for, or even for a way further for a career, but rather connect with the people, practitioners, experts, get help, gain exposures to new ideas, talk to the people, go to the meetups and see that what amazing thing they are doing. Have they solved any problem which you are facing already? Like if you go back and talk to the people, you will find it doesn't matter whether it is a banking domain, telecom domain, insurance, or whatever the domain. Almost 70% of the problem, according to my experience, are the same. It's actually the same. You just change some names and all those things. So, and that's where it lands on. Like security is a problem for every organization. Doesn't matter whether you're a telco or not. You have to start develop from the secure, as in that's the reason the DevSecOps comes in over there, and that's the main thing over there. And the last but not the least is
Yes.
demonstrate curiosity and empathy. So curiosity is something which I feel that it's very, very important trait as a human being also, like literally, is that if you have that learning thing, if you have curiosity to know something, if you have curiosity to learn something, this is where it actually soft skill traits you can demonstrate over there. Demonstrating these two qualities is a very good sign that a potential person or a human being will care deeply about DevOps, the company, and the role within the both. So that's where it comes in. So focus on that, and you will able to actually see that the changes are coming. You are curious about learning things. By default, you start owning it and getting on the path of DevOps engineer.
Couldn't agree more with curiosity,
Yeah,
and especially again from recruitment point of view as well. You want to hear people to be curious. You want people to want to learn new technology. You want people to reply to a question. What excites you? What do you want to learn? You want people to get actually
yeah,
excited and say it. And as I mentioned before, like. So you can probably add also in this list, talk to recruiters too,
yeah.
because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So some
Oh,
positions
yeah.
could say, DevOps in it, but it doesn't mean that the client want 3 years of DevOps experience as well. So it's always worth asking.
Yep,
It's always
definitely.
worth asking.
It's never just assume things. It's always my concept. Just ask it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Yeah, spot on.
100%. Like we just talked with a company that looking for software developers, but they don't have a dedicated DevOps team, for example, and they want the developers do the end-to-end delivery. So
Yeah,
that's basically your exposure straight away to the DevOps mindset without actually having like a DevOps title in it. So
you're right. You're right. And also, a
yeah.
lot of small projects starts with an organization as an incubator. It's by default start with a small funding where by default you are supposed to do everything. So that's look for those opportunities within your organization or outside the organization. That's a very good one to start with and a good place to learn actually.
I hope, Tanuj, we answer your question about how to break, to no hands experience threshold. So please let us know if you feel like it's any more questions there. And Ada's Action, do you offer any hands-on training for beginners?
It's a very one. I just try to find some time to get some my lunch and dinner. That's what I do at the moment in my job. But it's definitely it's a good point. I'll think about it. We can organize something just to have a sort of talking about it. It's a very good point. I'll take that and see that if I can record something for you guys and just share it sometime
Thank you,
soon.
Ankit. We can, and you can always, I guess, reach out to Ankit. I'm thinking he's happy to
Yep.
answer the questions.
Yep.
Like you can see, so many, knowledge coming out. So definitely,
Feel free
I'm
to reach
happy to
out.
share.
Yeah.
And also, I guess based on this, like hands-on training, would you recommend also any particular certifications for DevOps?
So again, I will link back to the core skills about that, and I think the certification is it's a very key thing to have, and it's not just because saying that because you will get a tag on resume or something like that. For me, having a certification is more over a self achievement, that it is more over verifying what you've been learning so far or what you were training so far. You're getting those concepts at it's supposed to be in the market, because like say whether I talk about AWS certificates or the Microsoft Azure certification process, the questions they ask about that, the solution designs, which industry practices to be followed and everything. So it's always key thing to check and validate your knowledge, that what you are training, what you are learning is actually what the demand of the market and all those things is. And definitely it adds a value to you. It adds literally a tool set over there in your kit, and say that you can present and you can actually you're not talking about saying that I have cloud experience, you're actually demonstrating it. So that's way too powerful as compared to what just talking about it. So that's where it comes in. So it all depends on that where you start, where you're in the journey. If you are doing on the cloud, I do recommend that do the cloud certifications, starting from the beginner foundations and start jumping into some deep dive advanced. Definitely pick one area if you're in advance in your journey, and say that hey, you pick one area, whether it is it's as a core administrator of a cloud platform, or having a developer focused mindset over there, or infrastructure as a code kind of thing. Pick one area where you can learn some of the foundational for each area, but pick one area to have advanced kind of trainings as well as certification that become your core strength. And whatever you like, it no need to be a define one goal, because end of the day you can choose what you want to do.
Definitely. And Carlos is saying for some advice for Tanush as well. Start building a cloud laboratory. I can't say this word. Laboratory. Here we go.
Laboratory.
Laboratory.
Yeah,
with the free services, a proxy or web server that will break the no hands-on barrier, and it gives you a nice roadmap for becoming a DevOps engineer. Again, thank you,
thanks,
Ankit,
Carlos.
for your roadmap. And we have another question from Nick here as well. He would like to hear your opinion on the importance of the cultural norms in the organization. What are your top 3 challenges in the traditional organization to enable DevOps practice? And there is also a bit another part of the question: how do you use the role of architecture in improving developers' life?
So let me pick the architecture one, and then I will jump on another one. So architecture is it's a very uh, architecture. There are two things. If I'm talking about architecture as a role, it's a completely different thing altogether. Like I see in part of DevOps, I've written a long back an article long back is talking about a software architecture that you don't need a architect as in literally one architect in working in silo and telling the teams over there what to do it, whereas you start participating, and your senior developers, if I say tech leads, start becoming a half architect job and then start doing it. So that's where it plays in, because an architecture now which you're building on over there, you need architecture, definitely you need an architecture over there on the thing, but at the same time you're now focusing on more architecture driven approach over there, but it's having a developer experience or the developer flavor, and start thinking end in the mind. You're like, on paper I can do amazing thing. Okay, what's reality? Okay, let's talk about what's reality, what I can do, what where we can fit in over there, what are the ways, because no one has an open checkbook. Okay, so what are the constraints we are playing on, based on that we can do it. That's where the role of architecture actually helps a lot. And I think uh, in the journey of this whole DevOps thing, I think we should start thinking about it, how we are ramping up and playing that role as well over there. Now, coming to the cultural norms in the organizations, it is if I see, there are so many challenges. If I have to just say top three, okay. So one and foremost is that the challenge around the learning is that, and I've been managing big teams and over there, we to start focusing is that how to break that silo of learning, is that how to ensure, how to tell people to come out from the comfort zone. That's the main thing actually. It doesn't matter if your manager or your organization wants to do the DevOps, it never comes from the top, it has to come from the bottom to top. So people has to start understanding, start learning that skill, and start taking out that as I come back on the automation framework, that hey, this is what we have to change on and all the stuff over there. And that's the one of the biggest challenge I've seen, that, and it takes time, it takes a while. And that's where it lands on the cultural aspect of the second point, is that actually how to switch that culture and tactical solutions around it. And sometime usually you don't have fundings around it, that hey, I can build a DevOps team separately, no. So what you do today is that as part of your current job, which is always being 120% busy everyone, you have to actually ensure that you become a DevOps skills, you're getting some DevOps skills and over there. That's where the automation comes, is a very key thing. That start thinking that how you can automate some tasks so that you free up your space and get things lined up. That's where it comes in. If I talk about the third one, is about actually training skills and all the stuff, how to align those properly, how to see that we can actually get most value out of it. Like having online training has its own value, and having in like class trainings or a proper uh, a workshop kind of thing is the main thing over there, and align it over there. And then having a buy-in from the leadership at some point in time also. And you start some proving some results, and then you have to demonstrate. So start demonstrating quite early the traits and everything, and then get buy-in from the leadership. That's where it comes in, and that's the important thing for an organization.
So basically, trying to start from the bottom up, that's probably one of your top advice.
Yep, exactly. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Yep. In a lot of organizations, pushing culture from top to the bottom is a, is a hard task. Not even if we're talking about DevOps, but
Yeah.
any implementation. Um, Look, Ankit, it was amazing. We're kind of just getting, to the 50 minutes mark. Guys, please, if you have, like last question, you still have a chance to ask, one last question. Also, we have, some inspiration here.
I keep on saying to my team, and I thought I just put in there, and that's it. And it's just easy. Get onto it, and you will be fine. And don't worry about it. Like start doing it. Start doing it today. Start doing it, and you will be fine. You will find just after some time you're already there. That's what I will say.
100%, yeah. If you
Yeah.
have a goal, just start taking baby steps towards your goal, and you will get there. Nick is saying thank you, Yana and Kit. So guys, while some of you trying to come up with like last question, if you still have some, I'll just want to remind you quickly that I'm going live every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. And next Wednesday, we're going to talk with Michael. And Michael will talk about how to build your career path from junior to senior developer. So he will put a really nice roadmap for you as well. I don't know, it will be competition whose roadmap is nice, and Keith's one is Michael's one. So
I think it's gonna be the same roadmap end of the day. It just with
yeah.
different words and just the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely think it will be some similarity, but just a bit more orientated to the software development. So that's our focus next week. And the week after, the topic will be a bit different. So Adam will going to talk how to deal with imposter syndrome to progress in your IT career. So would be quite an interesting discussion as well. So, and as usual, guys, if you're enjoying our discussion, please make sure you like this video. If I see the likes, it means I'm actually doing a good job here, and it encourages me to keep going and keep bringing various guests from my network to share their knowledge. And obviously, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure you get notified and for upcoming events. So, because YouTube at the moment is the best way to watch the shows, because as you just noticed, LinkedIn just kicked us out in the beginning before. But
They
I
fixed
guess,
it. They fixed it. They were
they
the
did.
DevOps
They
engineers just
did.
fixed it quickly. That's the
Yeah,
speed.
someone just got a call in
Yeah.
America saying like, oh, the Yana's live stream down. Quick,
Yeah.
time to fix it.
You're right.
Okay, thank you so much, Ankit,
Good.
again.
Thank you so much, Yana.
Tanuj is saying thank you as well. Thank you so much. And, you enjoy your freedom in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's earned, much earned, deserved.
And we're
Thank you.
gonna, sticking
You
with
will get
our
there.
lockdown
Yeah,
number
we
6.
all are in together, Yana. We will get there, and we will beat this whole the worldwide, and we'll back to that. We'll travel. We'll do conferences. We'll do all those things.
I'm still
Cool.
hoping I'll get to DevOps Talk conference in New
Yep.
Zealand next
Yeah, yeah,
March. It's
definitely.
still on my list. We'll
And then
see.
we'll go to Queenstown definitely.
Yes, perfect. Thank you
Yeah.
so much again. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone, for watching us
Thanks for
tonight.
hosting. Thanks everyone. Take care.
Thank you. See you next Wednesday.